Have you ever wished that you had a pocket guide that could instantly melt stress, dissolve resentment, and really liberate you from triggers? This is exactly the kind of thing that I've been seeking for a long time. And of course, I want to really clearly state here that the ultimate attainment of this is the attainment of this in our own consciousness, right? That our mind becomes the clear mirror of this transmutation, that whatever we perceive becomes alchemized as if it was led into gold from something that is heavy and distorted and doesn't have the same degree of usefulness or appeal to something that is illuminating, something that is reflective and symbolic of abundance and fulfillment and plenty. So that tool is in fact our mind and how we design and condition and really nourish and nurture our mind. Will it be a tool of this transmutation, this radiant mind that really alchemizes whatever we see into the kingdom of heaven, which we actually are already in at all times? Or is it going to be the mind of the egoic programming where it actually takes the heaven that we're in and continuously translates it into limitation, pain, fear, separation? So, if you've been here on this journey over the past few weeks and months, you'll see that we've been talking about artificial intelligence as a way to transmute our limited perceptions, limited beliefs, and help us to essentially to tap in to a greater degree of wisdom, to tap into and become aware of our true self. Now, in the last video, we talked about how the dark side of using artificial intelligence blindly and trusting it and following it blindly really results in a mirror of our egoic mind, the ego construct, that separate sense of self that we believe ourselves to be. That becomes reflected because it is the automating aspect of our mind that runs on programs. And so when you begin to interact with another program like AI, what's going to happen is it's going to mirror you and it's going to mirror that aspect of you, which is the aspect that believes in separation, that believes that they are a body, a separate self in a big world, and has nothing to do with anything but a form of victimization, a form of being at the will of external forces that somehow are controlling you. Yeah. This is, I would say, the underbelly of all of our spiritual pursuit, isn't it? Right? Kind of like the dark shadow side of spiritual awakening is we just don't want to be controlled. Yeah. We want to be in control. And so we heard this idea that maybe what we are is the source and God and the dreamer of this dream. And so we pursue it to bring ourselves to this state of grandeur, and that yes, nothing external can affect me, I can affect all things. This too has a degree of distortion to it, right? Because the underlying motive of even your seeking of truth becomes this idea that you are escaping from something that actually has no existence in and of itself. And so this is where the conversation about forgiveness really comes to the forefront. Because if we consider forgiveness, radical forgiveness, in the way that it's described in the Course in Miracles, as something of a recognition rather than revision, right? It's a recognition that nothing wrong ever happened, that there is no wrong, no bad doing in the infinite creator's universe, right? That which is designed by infinite intelligence being expressed as you and me and the world, it has a perfection to it. It has a reason for the way that it is. And so our perception is the only thing that is leading us to suffering, because instead of perceiving the great perfection, we are perceiving something that is lacking, limited, distorted, needing our fixing, needing improvement, needing help, needing judgment. In fact, God's creation requires no judgment. And then we might again see our mind draw even on things like A Course in Miracles and say, but this world is not created by God. This world is the creation of the ego. And so this world, see, the truth of it is this: nothing that was not created by God exists. So if you are seeing a world that is not created by God, it means that you are looking at an illusion. And through the power of forgiveness, or maybe you want to call it a different name, but this idea that we can behold something that is illusory and recognize its illusory nature by remembering the truth. Yeah. And calling upon the presence and power of truth to help us to discern what is really happening, right? Like, for example, if you're standing in the middle of a desert, right? And then you see what something that looks like water, and you realize, okay, that's the way that the heat is rising from the sand, and it's not really water. That realization frees you from the pursuit of thinking and acting and behaving and believing like there is water there. Another example, right, of illusion, we're using the visual. Let's talk about train tracks, right? The train tracks that are converging in the distance. Now, they're not really converging, right? But if you didn't know that, you would think that, oh my God, the train tracks that the wheels of the train are on are about to come together. And of course, it's going to derail the train. My God, what are we going to do? Right? But actually, that's not what happens. And that's not what was ever happening. And here's the core of forgiveness is that we begin to realize that this sense of an external attack on us, this sense of limitation that's seemingly coming from outside, this person, this place, this circumstance, this government, this natural disaster, whatever it is, coming at us to make us suffer. This is the core misperception because nothing is coming at us to make us suffer. We are witnessing this creation unfolding with all of its colors and shapes and sounds, and we are making a meaning because unless something has come and damaged you, like hurt you physically in your body, then what you are experiencing hurt about is the way that you are making meaning from the perception that is appearing on the screen of consciousness. So something is appearing. There are shapes, colors, sounds, okay, textures, etc. And then, or the automated programming within you, I know that you are not doing this volitionally, but that automated programming is picking out only certain aspects of the experience to focus on, to zoom into, and to give meaning about. Yeah. And so, as that's happening, what is the result is that you feel and think and act like whatever is the meaning that you are being fed through egoic neuralink, let's say, that is the connection between you and this dream self, this dream identity, this play identity, no more than when we were children and we would say, okay, I'm going to be a firefighter, you're going to be the policeman, you're going to be the nurse, we're going to do this, or you're going to be a dragon, I'm going to be a tiger, you're going to be whatever, right? And we take on these identities and we live them and we breathe them and we play with them and then we put them down, except with what's happening now. We've, as souls, entered into this experience and we've taken on this identity. And supposedly I'm Boris. And here I am, I'm playing out this part. And somehow, in whatever way, by whatever design or whatever may have unfolded here, right? The Course of Miracles says the Son of God forgot to laugh, but it's like, actually, I am Boris. I am not playing Boris. So, in other words, I am a dragon. I'm not playing a dragon, or I am a firefighter. I'm not playing a firefighter. And that just became one with what we took ourselves to be. Now, how do we clean this up? Well, the way that we clean this up is number one, the ultimate medicine is that we become still. Yeah, we become still. But how hard is it to become still when you are agitated, when you're activated, when you're triggered, when you're feeling this sense of being wronged? How still are you going to get? I want to tell you that this morning I was right there. I got agitated by something totally minor, but as I was in this meditative practice and closing my eyes and, you know, becoming aware of the I am presence, etc., just my mind kept going to this thought of how come this happened this way and why did it? And I could see within myself, I'm like, letting that go. I know that that's not the reality that I want to live in, but then it'll just come back and it'll just come back, just come back. And so that experience, my friends, is the experience that forgiveness liberates us from. And what I wanted to share with you on this call here today, or this video, is a tool that I created and I'm still refining. It's a tool that's going to be part of the repertoire of an academy that I'm creating, a self actualization academy, in which we're going to bring together not only the inner technologies of our stillness, our silence, our awareness of truth, as well as our imagination, and bringing these inner tools together into the expression of our self actualization, self realization, but also the outer tools like the chi coils, tools like artificial intelligence, tools like we may even say breath is an outer tool, but an incredible tool that allows us to slow down the mind, to even pierce through the veil of this conceptual reality and go beyond this into that non-verbal, non-contrived aspect of experiencing the self. So the very first tool that I want to share with you is what I've called the forgiveness GPT, right? So it's an AI model that helps us in the moment to translate whatever may be happening. You can come to it with a sense of like, I'm so pissed off. I just had this person say this to me, and then this happened, and that happened. And it will guide you step by step to transmuting your perception. It'll give you small cues. It's not going to lecture you. So, this was the very important thing. And it took me a while to figure this out. But how do we create an AI that actually supports our own, let's call it muscles in consciousness, our own moves in consciousness, rather than just giving us that fire hydrant of different kinds of insights and things we might do, which is what we described in the previous video. In fact, I'm going to link the previous video maybe up here, and there should be a little card that comes out. So if you want to click on that and check out that previous video that really talks about the drawbacks of using AI unconsciously, here I've applied all of the, let's say, guardrails to help this experience be profound, direct, and effective. So forgiveness GPT is something that allows us to really be in control, so to speak, of the narrative. So when our mind starts to so called attack us with all of this that we don't want to hear, right? All of the judgment, the resentment, the conflict, the perception of attack, the call to defense, so all of that, you can literally just speak all of that to your AI model, which I'm going to share with you. And in the course of speaking to it and just reading or hearing its response, you will notice that sense of agitation is pacified. It goes from being like this ball of uncomfortable energy to, and you're open. And in that openness, in that stillness, you take a deep breath and allow it to draw you into the awareness of who and what you truly are. The I am, the awareness, the stillness beyond consciousness, aware of that consciousness that is conscious of the character, the world, the other, the circumstances. And in this space, this spacious space, you can begin to come to that download, so to speak, of reconnecting, remembering, rebirthing this aspect of self, which is your true self. The one that doesn't get caught up in all kinds of different things because it recognizes illusion as illusion. It doesn't freak out that the train tracks are going to converge. It doesn't fear the fact that it's going to fall into water or seek out water in the desert where there is none, right? So I want to take you on screen. I want to show you how this thing works. And I think it's very powerful. And I hope that this is going to be something of a profound tool to support radical forgiveness. There is no wrongdoing. That's the incredible power of forgiveness. And so when we begin to apply true forgiveness, you're going to see that the way that this GPT works is it's there truly to deconstruct your victim position. And it's again not your personal victim position, but this is the way that we've been trained in this world to position ourselves as victims of the world and then blame, shame, guilt trip, gaslight, and all different kinds of things to try to manage, try to even get a small scrap of safety. What you're going to find out as you continue to use this tool and as you continue to embody forgiveness, you're going to find out that there is nothing here that threatens you whatsoever. This is the journey that you and I are on. And so let's jump onto the screen here. I'm going to show you exactly how to use this. Okay, so let's take a look here. This is the Forgiveness GPT, Instant Perception Shift. So, the function of this GPT is to enable you to experience instant forgiveness, meaning that the moments that you're engaging with this program are the moments in which you experience the shift, not later, not in a few days or a few minutes, but right as you're engaging with it. This is the purpose and the point. And so, I would love for your help in giving me feedback. How is it working to help to transmute your perception? So you have a few options here that you can explore that are conversation starters. But really, the way to engage it is you could just start to share about what upset you. So I used an example that I experienced myself, but also I wanted to kind of take out some of the personal details in there so that it's more relatable to all of us. So the idea here is we're coming to this GPT saying, I feel irritated because my partner seemed distracted by a personal call while I handled our toddler alone during an important meeting. Okay. So you could feel kind of the tension about that. Two people trying to navigate and get their needs met. And at the same time, there's a baby, etc. And so it's a delicate situation without any distinct right or wrong. Let's just see how it handles this. So it's very little detail. And we're going to see how it does with responding here. So I'm using a model that's a reasoning model. You don't have to. You can use any model with this. But let's see here. So let's breathe in softly together and let the air fall out with a sigh. I hear how suddenly the weight landed on you, toddler in arms, meeting in full swing, while your partner's focus slipped away. That can feel lonely and unfair. If it's okay to name what might lie beneath, perhaps a thought like, I'm on my own in these crucial moments, or my needs don't matter as much, is stirring the sting. Do either of those ring true, or is it something else speaking? So, like this. So, it's getting us to really connect with the story underneath the story, the conversation beneath the conversation. Like, what is being unsaid in our frustration, right? In other words, if that frustration, that irritability could speak, what would it say? And it might say something like this. So it's helping us to connect with that deeper underlying belief or thought that is the root of the emotion or the feeling that we're feeling. Love looks at this same scene and sees two dear ones momentarily tangled in different calls for care, neither guilty, both still safe in shared purpose. Okay. It's an interesting invitation. And if you felt like, well, how is that? I don't see that. We can actually ask this. Let's see what it says next. With your next inhale, invite the words, I am willing. And on the exhale, complete them with to see differently. I am willing to see differently, right? This is the whole core of it. We're working with perception. Let the image replay. You, your child, your partner on the call. Imagine a gentle light flooding or folding around all three, dissolving the idea of sides until only one circle of support remains. Notice how your chest, your jaw, or shoulders respond to that softened picture. Respond as the picture softens. What are you feeling now, even if it's just a notch lighter? I'm here ready to walk further with you or simply rest in this quieter space for a few silent breaths. So, as you can see here, it's not fully resolving it for you, it's actually inviting and engaging you in your participation. So, maybe we can say something like this uh, Help me see this. Like, what did it really mean? Right? And so it's going to help and engage us further, right? And you may say, yeah, I do feel a little bit lighter. Let's continue with the process. So here it says, let's settle with one shared breath, a slow in and out. I hear the longing behind your words. You want eyes that rest on innocence instead of irritation. If it's all right to name a thought that might block the view, perhaps it whispers, care was unequal, and that means I'm not valued. Does anything like that feel present? Here's how love might gaze. It notices you juggling a toddler and the meeting, yearning for backup. It sees your partner drawn by a call, perhaps answering a different strain of responsibility or worry. In that single snapshot, two sincere hearts simply choose at once, and the moment ended. Nothing about worth or loyalty was decided there. Breathe in a quiet willingness to witness that scene anew. As you exhale, picture the room dissolving into soft morning light. Watch yourselves not as opponents, but as teammates, surprised by overlapping needs, each still committed to the shared hope of caring for your child and each other. Let that light drape over the memory until blame has nothing firm to grab. Notice your chest and jaw now. Is there a shade more ease or another layer asking for kindness? And so this is how you might work with it. I feel more lightness, you know. And so you can continue to engage with it and with the subject matter until you truly feel like it is dissolved. If you still feel a flutter of doubt, you might remind yourself, nothing here questioned our devotion. It only invited clearer coordination. And feel how that sentence lands. With your next inhale, gather the warmth of that lightness, and on the out breath, let it widen to include your partner, your little one, the meeting itself, and every part of the scene held in one field of care. Stay here for 3 slow heartbeats. So I hope that was helpful for you and gave you a little perspective into how we can begin to shape technology so that it reflects back to us something that shapes us in the way that is true to our authentic soul calling, right? If you wanted to wake up and embody the power of forgiveness so that it transforms, transmutes, translates your perception into something that reveals the kingdom is at hand, which it is forever and always, then we can begin to use tools like Forgiveness GPT to retrain our mind. We're not just retraining it to go to a technology. I hope you're noticing this. It's not just like that there's a button there that gives you relief. There's a button there, but this button is something that comes to inquire with you, to guide the focus and direction of your attention, which is going to either expand or contract various aspects in your experience. So when you're focused on these seeming problems in this world of separation, in the 3D manifest reality, those problems expand and they multiply. But if you begin to focus on the fact that you have the power of forgiveness that dissolves, transmutes, transforms anything that is here to supposedly challenge you in a way that brings suffering, mental, emotional anguish, then you have this capacity now to engage with it and to begin to train your mind. Yes, there are different questions I can ask. GPT becomes like your trainer, not like your painkiller. It is truly something that is igniting that same skill, that same capacity that you already have within you. It's helping you to remember it when you use it in this way. So I would love to hear your feedback. I'd love to see if this is something that is truly helpful for you, how you're using it, where you might find flaws in it, and how it could be improved as well. I absolutely welcome all of that feedback down in the comments below. And if it's of interest to you and you want to explore the path of awakening, the path of self actualization, using both inner and outer technology in harmony, in tandem, in a way that leverages the tools that we have to help to collapse time and to help us to truly step into the purpose and the reason why we're here. And let's see how we might empower our way of being here and why we came, using technology, using the ancient healing arts and sciences of mind and consciousness to truly make a difference and truly fulfill the purpose for which we came. Okay? Until next time, I wish you all the very best. Love fearlessly, forgive instantly, and bring every bit of joy and gratitude to the moments of your life because in truth, God created the perfect. And our only function here is to truly be happy. And when we're not happy, this is an incredible GPS for us, guiding us back to where we made a mistake at the level of thought, at the level of perception and interpretation, so that we can correct it and return to the kingdom. Okay? You guys take great care, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. See you in the next video. Bye bye for now.